Team, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? This is Danny. Welcome back to the Sales Channel. So this continues the conversation that we're having around what it looks like to be an ultimate prospector inside of 30 days inside of your business, right? So taking your business from wherever you want, whatever stage of entrepreneurial life that you are at, right? If you follow this cadence from step 1 all the way to step 30, I promise you, you will be profitable inside of your business because this is the exact thing that's going to teach you how to reach out to cold prospects in your market, whatever your product offer or service actually is. And we'll connect you with that cold market. Not only will it connect you to the cold market, it'll teach you actually how to bring that cold market into your business, right? How to make them warm, how to warm them up, how to have a real conversation, how to get into one-on-ones, how to get into discovery, how to get into closes, how to get into pitches, right? Everything starts with the ability to actually generate a cold market into your business, right? Everything is about taking cold market who has no idea that you even exist, right? They've never heard of you. They don't know what you do. They don't know your name. They don't know your business. They don't know your style. They don't know your structure. They don't know your cadence. And they most certainly don't know your process, business, product, or offer, right? This is how to get them involved in your ecosystem. This is how to get them to understand who you are. This is about how to get them to be in the mindset that, oh, Danny's going to be the one that does this for me, right? Or whatever your name is, right? But one of the things that goes into this, and I kind of want to reset, like I've done a bunch of videos now, leading up to some of the cadences that are expected to do this, but now I want to kind of retract because now we're going to move into some of the more serious stuff. So I need to remind everybody that when it comes to mindset, right, it's one of the most cliche things inside of sales that mindset is the right thing. But I promise you, and I want you to listen to this, I really want you to pay attention to it. I'll say it twice for those of you that just, for whatever reason, are distracted or in some kind of trance or in some kind of dopamine fix when this is actually being said. However, right, you need to make sure that your mind is right inside of sales. The reason is you need to make sure your mind is right inside of sales is because this is the only profession on the planet that if you are not 100% involved in what you are doing, you are 100% not going to succeed. Now, I'm going to say that again. If you are 100% not involved, matching energy, intuition, effectiveness, frequency, if you are not 100% mind in the game, when it comes to sales, you will 100% fail. The reason is because this is the only job in the world that doesn't have a routine checklist. It is one of the only jobs in the world where if I have 1,000 conversations, that 1,000 conversations, nobody will have two alike conversations. I'll have similarities inside the conversation 100%. Right, there will 1,000% be similarities inside the conversation, but as far as word for word, exactly the same conversation, it's impossible. It's like reshuffling a deck of cards and getting the exact same deck of cards. The odds of that are so vast that you'll never see it in a lifetime. It's just never going to happen, right? Two personalities, they mesh differently, mindsets, shifts, disciplines, the way somebody perceives what you're saying, the way somebody understands what you're saying, the way somebody interprets your body language, the way somebody interprets your personality, the way somebody interprets your tonality for that matter, right? So this is where I want to really, really run to structure, right? And this is where the mindset of entrepreneurship is at its all-time high, right? It takes more than one day in order to be successful at anything, right? If something took just one day for you to be successful inside of it, I promise you it is not something that's worthwhile, right? What can you learn to do in a day? Like if you think about it, like what can you really learn to do in a day that can sustain you for the rest of your life? I learned how to do a push-up, cool. What does that push-up mean if I only do it for one day though? I can learn how to do it, sure, but what does it mean if I only do a push-up for a day? If I learn how to make a meal, if I only make it for that one day, what does it matter? Right? If you're putting this time, energy, and investment inside of yourself, right? And if I'm going out there and I'm giving you this much free value inside of like what you're going to do inside of your business, inside of your industry, in order to bring on cold prospects inside of your company, you have to understand that this takes more than one day, right? And it also takes more than one no. It also takes more than one objection. It also takes more than one phone call. It also takes more than one connection, right? Because here's the thing, right? And this is the truth about sales, and this is the thing that a lot of people forget. Because as of late, right, I've been doing a lot of like hunting down for setters. I've been doing a lot of trainings when it comes to setters. I've been doing a lot when it comes to like SDR, the sales development role, right? Sales development rep. You can call them BDRs, you can call them account executives, whatever you want to call them, but like individuals that do a lot of cold calling because number one, I wanted to make sure I understood what the market was looking for when it came to prospecting and people that actually reach out to these cold markets because I wanted to make sure I was able to deliver something that they would actually find valuable inside of this program, right? So I've been having a lot of conversations. I've been providing a lot of feedback. I've been providing a lot of context. I've been providing a lot of examples, and I've been providing a lot of role play. But the thing is, you have to understand it takes more than a day, right? If your brain is not in this, you are quickly going to discover how challenging it actually is to be a cold caller, right? Let alone like if you move them to a discovery call, let alone if you get them into a high ticket closing procedure, right? Or a high ticket closing phase of the business or a high ticket close in general, right? Like you still may not get that. That's why you have to understand that this is a process, right? Everything worth anything takes time, right? The more you put into it, the higher your frequency, the better your efficiency, the more that you're actually going to get it done in a shorter amount of period of time, which is great. But it's never going to be a day. You could have a one call close, great. Like you picked up the phone, you dialed out somebody, you were super energetic, super confident, you resonated with the energy that they were coming back at you with. And then you could actually be like, that person's like, yeah, I want to move forward. Great. Like if that happens, like super great. Love it. The odds of it happening are very light. So you have to learn to expect more than one no. You have to learn to expect that you have to get better. You have to learn more to expect that your mindset has to be plugged into the game every day that you're doing this, because at the end of the day, the number is what wins, right? It takes more than one day to get good at this. I've been doing this 17 years. 17 years is 35,000 hours in sales. Now I'm still learning. Do I have a better chance of closing something? Of course I do. You know, because no matter how somebody pivots, I can pivot with them, right? No matter how somebody changes, I can change with them. I've learned enough to adapt. Now, here's the cool thing about it is, and this is like one of those subconscious things that are really important. If you've ever been inside of like momentum or flow or any or peak state, whatever they call it, right? Like there's a bunch of different things that are highlighted inside of that trait. But if you practice something enough times over and over and over and over again, what happens is things that you didn't even know you remember, you somehow will remember at a point where you actually need to have that memory pulled up for you. It's almost like your subconscious is storing it in this bank somewhere behind the head. Because think about it, like your entire body runs without you actually having conscious thought about what your body is doing, right? Does that make sense? Everything that you do inside of your body, besides the actual things that you're showing the outside world, everything internally is done for you. You don't have to think about your heart beating. You don't have to think about digestion. You don't have to think about hearing. You don't have to think about swallowing. You don't have to think about breathing. All that stuff is done for you. When something is done repetitiously enough, right, it stores back there. And when you need to use it inside of an interaction, inside of a sale, all of a sudden it's called up for you. And in almost like a microsecond, like it's called up for you to be able to use inside of this interaction, because your brain has realized that in order for you to survive, that's that fight or flight, survive that point of the interaction, you actually need this one piece to be injected into the sale to keep the conversation inside of motion, right? It's crazy how it does that, right? But this is something you have to do daily. Why do you have to do this daily? Because if you do not do this daily, you will get rusty. Sales is the only thing that, again, that if your energy isn't on point every single day that you're involved in this, you will 1000% get rusty. You can get rusty inside of 3 hours. You can get rusty on the other end of your lunch break. Like I went in from 9, I got to 12. 9 to 12, I absolutely dominated my numbers. I hit so many people on my contact list. I had some great conversations, pushing people into the pipeline, pushing people through the pipeline, push some deals into new phases of the sales. But I had lunch, I had some tacos, right? Or I had some Chipotle, or I had some pizza, or I had a burger. Now I'm just not there. Now I'm rusty back inside of sales, right? It might take me another 2-3 hours to get back into motion. It takes more than one day. This is practice, repetition, momentum. You have to keep it going. If you don't keep it going, you're not going to get there. And I know it's like crazy, like, dude, so much mindset goes into this. Like, yeah, 100% it does. When you're going into a thing where you're talking to people that don't want to talk to you, in the most brutal version of human nature is answering a phone for a complete stranger that wants to sell them something, they will give you the worst version of humanity ever, where most of the objections are actually reflexive. They're not even thought out processes, right? You know how many people are going to a meeting, like they didn't even think of that. That just came out. Like remember the subconscious thing I just said, where things just kind of fly out of the subconscious just in order to do this fight or fight thing. That they don't want to fight, they want to flight. So hey, I have a meeting. Hey, I'm late for a call. Hey, I have to jump. Hey, my partner's not here. Like whatever. That's why you have to learn to swap through that, get through that, and move on into the conversation, right? You only do that by becoming more efficient. You only become more efficient by actually doing this over and over and over again, right? I'm going to go through objections. We're going to get to objections. We're going to get to role play, but you have to understand when it comes to mindset, right? People that are out there online like Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Iman Gadzhi, like all the people out there, Frank Kern, Russell Brunson, Alex Hormozy, like all the individuals that are preaching this kind of stuff, right? It's always consistency, right? It takes more than one day to do something. You can find people to offload some of the stuff, like once the prospecting actually gets into motion, right? But you have to understand the stuff. If you want to teach the stuff, you actually have to understand what the stuff looks like, right? So if you're the Cole Gordon out there, you're the Ravi Abuvala, like anybody that's actually offering this stuff, Channing Tittister, I don't actually know his name. I can't pronounce it. He says it so fast. I lose it completely. But it takes more than one day in order to get involved in something like this. It takes more than one day in order to practice something like this. And if you're not doing this every day consistently, right, over and over again, just making dials, even if you can't pay for leads, it's cool. Go to Google search a business that's in your target market, start looking for the ones that don't have 1-800 numbers, because they're going to have ones that are answered by real human beings, and then start hunting down who the individual is that's looking to make a decision for that business, right? That's it. but you have to do this consistently. If you don't do this consistently, if you don't match this consistency on a daily basis, and you really think that one day is actually going to solve anything, it's just not going to work out. Mindset is key, and energy is key to all this, to learning how to sell and to actually getting inside a business.